Welcome back to the Real Features podcast. We are so pleased to introduce our next guest. He's one of Australia's most accomplished actors with close to 100 acting credits to his name over a 50-year span. Quentin Tarantino labelled him the greatest Australian actor going around. Take that, Hugh Jackman and Rusty Crowe. He was a presenter on Better Homes and Gardens. He appeared in over 100 episodes of the hit drama series McLeod's Daughters and starred in hit movies that include Summer City, opposite Mel Gibson, Picnic at Hanging Rock, and Rogue, but he's probably best known for his iconic role as a menacing outback serial killer Mick Taylor in Wolf Creek, hot off the release of his latest film, The Possessed, which is now available on video on demand to purchase, which we'll get to a bit later. We introduce none other than John Jarratt. John, how are you?
I'm not too bad for an old bloke.
Thanks so much for joining us. It's an honor to be chatting with you.
Same. Thank you.
No dramas at all. And we had the pleasure actually of speaking to the director of The Possessed this morning, Chris Sun. And
he likes to chat, doesn't he?
He loves to chat. Great talker.
Yeah. A lot of energy. He's a great man. Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah, for sure. And we watched the film recently, and we just wanted to pick your brain on like how what was your kind of process in getting into that character of someone who I guess is performing those types of things to release demons on people.
Exorcisms, yeah.
Yeah, exorcisms.
I've never been offered anything like that role. It's way out of my safety zone. And I thought it would be an incredible challenge to pull that off. And I was pretty excited about doing it.
Yeah. And it's apparently it's inspired, well, we know this, it's inspired by true events, which is pretty creepy. At the end of the film, you actually see some kind of footage of the guy that your character is based on. How do you feel about that? Do you believe in exorcism?
Mate, I'm an agnostic. I believe I believe that there's two things going to happen when you die. When you die, nothing happens. Well, you don't know. If you die and something happens, wow.
Yeah.
I've had a few things happen to me that I feel like my mum and dad are not with us anymore, and haven't been for quite a number of years. But I sometimes feel the closeness of them. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm an agnostic.
Yeah.
I think, without getting too esoteric, but I think life is extraordinary, but people say, how can the universe come out of nothing? Well, a human being comes out of two tiny little things joining together, and this monster comes out of these microscopic two things that join together. So, so from nothing comes something. And I don't know. I don't even know how this picture gets into the computer, never mind who God is. So I thought, well, okay, maybe that does happen. I don't know. I'm agnostic.
Yeah. You're not ruling anything out. I like that.
Had you met with the person it was based on? I forget the person's name, but
but I didn't base the character on him.
Yeah,
just some of the things he did, like with his hand and that stuff, and his process. But I just decided to make my character complete individual, and just used his techniques, if you like, and his and the feelings of what comes to him and things like that. I decided to make the character a fictitious character, and then I had to find three entities that get into him, which was kind of fun. I had an imp from the Old Testament in Persia, who came and spoke in tongues and did crazy stuff, and tried to put the evil person off, and he wasn't afraid of the evil spirits, the demons and stuff. And then I had another one, the guy who spoke Latin. I thought, well, I'll make him an early Catholic Roman. So I made him Italian, and I did Italian thing. And so, where the Roman Catholic Church started. So I made that he was a priest from that time. And then there was another priest who was kind of modern times. And so I decided that it was I don't know why, it's a bishop from the Bendigo Cathedral in the 1800s, late 1800s. So yeah, I just gave myself specific things that actually did happen and try to figure those characters out.
Yeah,
become possessed with them, and like the bishop, he spoke very well, spoke like that all the time. Get out, you damn thing,
Yeah.
And the other guy was speaking in Latin, and I did a little bit of the Italian with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then my character is a pretty straightforward bloke who believes in Christianity and is driven by it, but he's not a pain in the ass, shoving it down your throat or anything.
Yeah.
And a country guy. So I always give people a backstory, and then I see how much of John Jarratt I can put in there. Not because I'm afraid to become something else, but it's just that it's a more honest performance to put as much as you can of yourself in there. So
yeah,
my country upbringings sort of helped.
Yeah. And is that a pretty, sorry, I was just going to say, is that a consistent process with all the characters you've played across your career, that you generally do create a backstory, quite a dense backstory?
I go from when they were born to, and it's getting harder because Mick Taylor's, I think he's in his 60s. I'm 70.
Yeah.
So I figure he's in his 60s and he's tough as nails. But so 70 years of Mick Taylor now. But so the backstory, I go from when where they were born, who their mum and dad was, did they have siblings, blah, blah, blah. What happened to them? Did they get raped? Did they get punched up? Did they kill somebody? Whatever.
Yeah.
And I'll just give them a complete story until what I call page 0, which is the page before page 1, so that when I step on the script, when I stepped into the first page of the script, I know exactly where I'm at.
I love that.
Amazing to get that insight. I mean, it almost sounds like it's not far off, almost method acting to a degree, where you're really getting into the
I'm not a method actor. I'm a professional actor. Once you got all that backstory, you just act. All this wank of sitting down and drinking scotch and getting half pissed. If method actor, I'd have to wipe out half a dozen bloody backpackers every week.
Well, that's it. You'd be murdering.
I don't do that. It's just a process to when I do the acting. But I have to stay there. I mean, when I'm about to try and get demons out of somebody and do all that stuff, I can't just go and have a coffee and talk about Rabbitohs on the weekend.
Yeah.
Got to stay in that zone. And with Mick Taylor, I had to kind of stay in that zone too. You can't just go and have a coffee and say, okay, we're ready for you to come and cut that girl's tits off, Sure, no worries. So I kind of stay there, but I don't think I'm not a method actor.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But I love that insight. That it's because all actors, I mean, and I'm sure you come across method actors.
Yeah, I had to put up with them. Yeah,
I love that.
I love it.
Sorry, Paul.
Yeah, you had to channel some pretty, some pretty full-on scenes in The Possessed, where obviously you're channeling, spirits and everything, through that. How challenging was that? And how was that, trying to get that out, invoke that out of you? It just sounds like it was because even Chris spoke about a pretty full-on scene, I think, on Ball, where you've also worked on some pretty emotional or emotive scenes in that as well. So but doing exorcisms, I imagine, is very different as well, a different one. You haven't done much.
Just got to go in boots and all, and I mean, it's pretty surreal and crazy. I mean, if you just happen to walk into the studio and come on the set and see all that happening, you think that's a bit bit off the air, you know. But you just got to go for it, you know. And I'd worked out what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it, and falling into the characters and feeling the imp come into me, and you just do your best to encompass it and stay very, very concentrated on the thing. Just before we had a take, we all just really got in the zone, and my right hand man was Lincoln Lewis, and he was so there with me, and you know, and the rest of the actors, but mainly Lewis, and because that was a partnership. And he made it easier because, you know, we pumped each other. But it's something like I've never done before, and it just it was very, very challenging.
So, John, you've I mean, obviously, especially since Wolf Creek, you seem to have, you're a pretty big player in the horror section of things. Is that a type of movie that you generally watch as a viewer?
I hate zombies and all of that, and I don't like actors who wear rubber masks. So my idea of a good horror film is Cape Fear with De Niro and Hannibal Lecter, Anthony Hopkins, and where the buggers act, you know, and I like I mean, Hannibal Lecter, it's a bit out there, but I Psycho, I think I like horror films that I think, okay, that could happen, and then I can see the characters. I like good acting, you know, in everything. And when you put a rubber mask on or a bloody leather thing, I mean, it's sort of cool to watch, but it doesn't get me like bloody good actors like and De Niro doing that.
The Cape Fear, that stands up today. I watched that not long ago, and it's an amazing film.
When he bit her face.
No,
they're the ones I like.
Even the original Cape Fear is pretty good as well with Robert Mitchum, and that's great.
He's good. I like Robert Mitchum.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah,
Robert Mitchum and what's his name?
Yes.
Cat Ballou, what's his name?
That's gonna annoy me.
Lee Marvin.
Yes, that's
two favorite heavy guys.
And did we hear rumor that there's another Wolf Creek in the works?
Well, we're working on Wolf Creek 3 next year, but I just made a film called What About Sal, which is about a Down syndrome guy, and we literally just finished that, and it'll be released probably early next year.
Amazing.
Cinemas. And I'm very proud of it. It's a really good film. I wrote it, directed it, produced it, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow.
And a guy called Jarratt O'Dwyer, who is a really good actor, full stop, and he's got Down syndrome, and he carries this film, and he's extraordinary. And I think you're all in for a treat. He's a guy, he won Best Actor at Tropfest in 2009 for Bus Stop. And in lots of stuff, and he does live theatre as well. Amazing man. And so I've done that, and right here, right now, I'm doing the Jeff Fennick film. I'm going to do a biopic about Jeff Fennick called His Hands, and it's going to be a big film. And so I've got to get that out the road. Hopefully, we'll be making that in the new year. We've written the script, and then we'll do Wolf Creek 3, hopefully.
Wow. You're a busy man.
Yeah.
Out of the road. I'm not available until I can sort that out. You know. So I've got to stay fit and keep the old man out. You know.
Exactly.
I love the Wolf Creek series as well that you did as well. I was surprised that they went for 2 seasons. I thought that was fantastic.
They're thinking of doing a 3rd season of that.
Oh, I hope so. I'd loved it. Yeah.
After the bloody movie, so.
Yeah.
I'll be 72 by then.
Anyway. Actually, it would be. A question for you as well that we had John Wood on recently as well and asked him this question, and it was around I guess the effect of streaming on the industry. How you feel that do you think that's created more opportunities for the Australian movie and TV industry with the rise of those, or do you think it's?
I think it's fantastic. The episodics. I mean, I love them. I got us all through bloody COVID.
Yeah.
This 6 to 8 episodes is really fantastic. A lot of them are boring as batshit, but there's some gems coming out, and that's what I'm doing with the Wolf Creek series, and I think it really works.
Yeah.
The other thing that we've all got to be careful of is making sure that if we make a movie, that we give it its legs and get all the box office you can possibly get before you put it on streaming. Can't understand why people, go straight to streaming because you can't get any bloody money out of it. Box office.
Yeah, that's right.
You get the money, but once once they pay you for your series, that's it.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's a bit of a bummer. There's no royalties. I'd like them to look into that. I think they're getting away with something there.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
If you're on something that streams its head off, you think you should be able to get a few bob out of it, But
that's it.
So that part I don't like. I think someone's got to work out how to give you royalties if you put a smash hit on one of those.
Yeah, well, it's such a new model, and I guess it's following the music side of things like Spotify and all of that, and they get paid, albeit not that great, but they do get paid per play for those streaming services.
Yeah, well, see, back in the day, you'd sell, a few million DVDs.
Yeah.
And you got a piece of that action. There was a lot of money in it. That's all gone.
Yeah.
So, it's not as lucrative as it used to be in this business.
No, and I think I can't remember who the actor was,
because there's a lot more outlets.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that you might not be getting the royalties off all these shows, but there's a lot of work for actors. There's a lot going on, and it's good for the younger actors coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, John, I reckon it's a good time. What do you think, Paul Cookson, to get to our listener question, or what are you thinking?
So, I was just I know Chris wanted us to ask you.
Oh, go on. Please, you can take this.
He was insistent. He's definitely wanted us to ask you. Apparently, he's got an idea in mind for your next movie. I think he wants to dress you in drag. I don't know if he's told you this, but apparently, yes, if you were open to that. And even I think he's got some new series, I think, which was a pickers type one. And I think he was going to take you around and find an outfit for you.
He essentially goes to op shops and picks out bargains and tries to resell them, and it's like almost a reality insight into his life. And he was going to get you on there and try and dress you up in a few things. So anyway,
no, I've always wanted to do that. I just think it would blow people's heads off if Mick Taylor turned up in a little frock.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. That would be amazing.
I'd love to do the gay thing. I really would.
Yeah.
So you've worked with Chris a few times now. So I mean, this is the second movie with him. Was there any, how is he as a director? How do you enjoy it? Obviously, you've got some good chemistry. If he's got a great energy, and
he has the ability. The greatest ability of a director for me is he gets into the scene. When he directs it, he gets in there. You feel like he's right part of it, and he's got a good intensity and he drives, but he's also his attitude's always great. He's not an authoritarian or anything, and he's good to work with, and he's got a great energy, and he knows what he wants, and he feeds pretty well, and it's really good. I like that in a director. What I mean by that is my idea of the difference between a cinematographer and a cameraman. The cinematographer also, the camera gets in there, and the camera operator observes.
Yep.
Whenever you're observing, your directors or observers or cameramen that are observers don't do it for me. It's sort of a sterility to it. You got to get in with your films and any acting process. So yeah, he ticks the boxes for me. That's for sure.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's.
And it was a pretty physical role as well, I think. I mean, you're mentioning your age, but I mean, you were up in the ceiling. You were doing all kinds of things during this. Was it a fair preparation-wise? Did you have to do a bit of, workout and kind of get?
No, I stay
fit anyway. But
I stay fit all the time. I'm very fit, and and I look after myself, and I don't eat shit, and I don't do drugs or booze or anything like that.
Yeah.
I try to keep the old man out,
Yeah.
Eastwood says, don't let an old man in.
Yeah.
So I refuse to get old. That's all.
Yeah. Just good attitude. And it's working.
Why would you want it? Why would you want to get old?
That's it.
Fuck
no good.
I'm not good. No.
I had one more question before I get. And
very great.
Yeah, got a bit on there too, John.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You're probably. How old are you?
What am I? 36. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm asking. How would I know?
I don't even know. It's not going well. No, I'm 36.
You look brighter than you're coming on as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. That's what I'm going for.
Okay, so you think you're 36? Yeah. Well, I've got a daughter 45.
Yeah.
So I'm fucking old.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's not much you can do about it, John. Unfortunately.
No, there isn't. No. On we march.
Yeah, that's it.
No, I don't care if I die. I'm not worried about dying. I just don't want to dribble in a nursing home for 2 or 3 years.
No.
No, fuck that.
It's not a way. It's not. No, you want to keep working, keep doing your thing.
I walked out there and I went clunk. Fine.
Yeah.
But if I'm 100, I hope the hell I'm walking around very straight. Boom.
It's a quality of life. It's not the length. So
backing up backpackers. One more question before we get to the listener question. And obviously it's well known that with Tarantino you appeared in Django Unchained, and obviously he, as we said Sam said on the intro, obviously said that his knowledge of Australian cinema is amazing. I remember seeing a documentary on Ozploitation, and he was literally talking about every film of these 70s and 80s Ozploitations. Just amazing, his knowledge of world cinema. But how is that like? Him how did that happen? He reaching out to you, your first meeting with him, and then coming.
Got off the plane for Kill Bill, and said, "I want to meet John Jarratt. It's my favorite." So they rang me, and I couldn't get to the premiere because I was I lived in Murwillumbah at the time, and then they rang me back and said he'd like to have a drink with you down at Circular Quay the following night. And I said, I'll just look at the diary. Oh yeah, I'm free. So I went and I met him, and we got on really well. And he and this was before Wolf Creek.
Yeah.
So
right.
He liked what I did over the years, and one of his favorite films, a not very well known film called Dark Age.
That's right.
He's got the print of it. And he liked another horror film I did called Next of Kin back in about 1981, somewhere there. Right. So he knows the history, and he knows every Australian film on earth. I said to him when we were on Django, we were waiting between scenes, and I said, you ever seen Wake in Fright?
Oh,
yeah, directed by Ted Koch after this Jack Thompson's first film, and they brought out a new print, and they've been re-released. And
oh wow!
Oh my god!
And I said to him, I just asked you if you've seen the fucking thing.
That's an encyclopedia. He's off tap. It's just.
And then I'm sitting there with my wife, in between scenes again.
Yeah,
on the side of a hill, in the hills above Hollywood, where they make John Wayne westerns and stuff. And I'm sitting there, and we're all bored, waiting for the next setup. And he came over to me and he says, "John, do you know the Ballad of John O'Casey?"
Oh, wow.
No. He says, an RC ballad, the ballad of John O'Casey. I said, never fucking heard of it.
Yeah.
And then he goes, and Jamie Foxx and all these people were all sitting on the thing. And he goes, there was old John O'Casey. And,
Oh my God.
And he sang this whole fucking Irish folk song through a couple of verses and 3 choruses. And he came to the end and he said, and that's the ballad of John O'Casey. And my wife said, that man is beautifully mad.
Yeah.
I think that's who he is. He's beautifully mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What an incredible story and insight.
That's amazing.
And that leads perfectly into our listener question, John. So we got this sent in from David. So David wrote, hi guys, we hear you are interviewing John Jarratt. Please ask him what his favorite Quentin Tarantino film is.
Oh, Pulp Fiction.
Yep. Quick answer. Yep.
Yeah. Brilliant film.
It's a winner.
Yeah.
What would be number second? Have you got a close now, or is
second?
Other than Django Unchained, thanks to a certain guest appearance.
Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That first scene in that film is just incredible.
Yes. Well, and the wonderful thing that he does, I just love that he kills Hitler.
Yeah.
And he kill and with the what's the name of the guy? Not quite Hollywood.
By Eli Roth. Is it Eli Roth?
No,
Eli Roth.
Eli Roth.
The bad guy in the Hollywood film.
Brad Pitt.
No,
the main bad guy. You mean
serial killer that was chasing the woman next to. What's his name with the long hair?
Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yes.
He doesn't kill the actress and Pitt belts the shit out of him.
Amazing.
I crap on about that film all the time on this podcast, but that is
I love that shit. You know,
I love that film.
I love that. Just fuck it. Let's have different history.
Yeah, let's change the history. Yeah,
even Bruce Lee, the moment with that as well.
It actually did happen apparently.
Oh, really? Right. Actually, right. There you go. Not rewriting.
He had his ass kicked, and he wanted to put it in the movie, and then they all said it didn't happen, but he had his ass kicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Amazing.
There you go.
So following, I mean, they're great choices and it makes sense. But following on from that, we've got another very popular segment, John, incredibly popular, called Name That Obscure Dialogue. And what it is I quote something from one of the films we just discussed. It's a Tarantino film. And you have to try and guess what that dialogue is. It's normally, it's obscure. And I sometimes misquote it. I'm a horrible actor, so the accents are always off.
If you get this right, it's kind of like winning the lottery. It is so hard to pick. It's not common dialogue. It might be an extra. It might be So anyway, good luck.
Not a nerdy guy. I'm shit at this sort of thing.
That's okay. Don't feel bad. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna give it everything. And away we go.
Away we go. Is that when he starts driving the car?
No.
When it starts driving the sports car really fast? No. Well, I don't know.
It's out of the film we just spoke about, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And it's actually when Brad Pitt smokes a cigarette that's been dipped in acid, takes a drag, and he goes, and away we go.
I wouldn't have got that in 6 months.
No one would have got that. That's ridiculous, John. No one wins this game. I'm sorry.
Okay, good.
But it's a super popular segment. Definitely
super popular.
Mainly just sounds popular for the.
Well, I just don't understand why, but
yeah, no, that's okay, John. It's but we're going to discuss, and I'm excited for this film too that you chose as one of your nostalgic films to discuss, which is, and we've selected Apocalypto, the Mel Gibson film from 2006.
Yes.
So, what does the film mean to you, John, and why did you choose it?
I just because of the wildness of that civilization that's extraordinary, brutal complexity of that civilization that he created. And, you know, you thought the conquistadors were going to be that should turn up at the end of the film.
Yeah.
You think those terrible conquistadors, what they did to those Native American, South Americans, but bloody hell, you know, that what they went through and their lives and their brutal civilization is just that just, and the way Mel captured it so extraordinarily well, that just blew my head off. And I didn't have to hear that. I didn't have to understand the dialogue. I know it was subtitle stuff, but I just thought it was something that was unique and very interesting, that he chose to say, well, this is what these ancient civilizations were, and how their religions for them drove all that horridness that we're getting in Iran right now. So, you know, to think that all that religious crap permeated that country, and obviously it's a human trait, you know. And then you see the ship at the end, and you think, okay, they got through all that, and heads rolling down, and that incredible scene where people's heads were being chopped off and rolled down, and the extras howling for blood, and then he gets away from that and he looks out at the end of all that shit, and sees the ship.
Give me a break.
And I just thought it was incredibly well crafted. I think Mel's a mate of mine, and because I cast him in his first film, and I've known him since 1976, when he was a mad bastard living around the corner in Bondi. And I'm so bloody proud of him, and I think he's extraordinary. I think he's up there with Tarantino, Scorsese, and all those guys. He's as good a director as they are. You know, Braveheart and Apocalypto and the Jesus movie. Yes, he suffered. We know he suffered. You whipped him enough. But unlike all those other directors that he's like Spielberg, Mel can also act extraordinarily. And if you don't think Mel's a good person, it's because you don't know him. He's a good person, and all that shit is just so over the top and exaggerated. It's terrible.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, and I wish, from a selfish point of view, I wish he'd direct more, because you're right. He smacks him out of the park when he does it.
Well, Ridge was the last one he did, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
He's going to do Lethal Weapon 5.
Yes, that's right. They are. Yeah. Because the director passed away.
Mel, this terrible anti-Semite who was holding a Jewish director's hand and promising he'll direct Lethal Weapon 5 for him.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Amazing. I mean, that he can direct a whole film in a language that as well that is not English, not his first language at all. Like learning Mayan, ancient Mayan, it's just incredible. And then again, you mentioned Passion of the Christ, which as well, in
Aramaic,
So it's very, very, very talented to be able to do that. So
and he understands Australian as well.
Which is difficult too. Let's be honest.
Probably the hardest of all.
But just on Apocalypto too. I mean, the film, I remember, it's actually my wife's favorite film. She loves it because we went and saw it in the cinema. It doesn't stop.
Cinema.
It just gives you a heart attack. Like it doesn't. The pacing of it's incredible.
It just tears your guts. And that panther was on a that was actually happening. That was on a very strong fishing line.
Yeah, they had it like on a tether kind of thing.
Yeah, on a fishing line.
Yeah,
and that it helped that you catch white pointers with.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that was real. And he thought he'd gone too far then because bloody didn't caught up with anybody.
Yeah, well, that's not acting then. If you're running, you're running.
That was he said that was the most freaked out thing he did. He thought, oh my God, I think I've gone too far here.
Yeah.
For our listeners, I'll just give the film a bit of we usually give it a quick intro as well, just so for the people, I imagine would have seen this if they're listening to this, but Apocalypto, as we've mentioned, is directed by Mel Gibson. It was written by him and Fahad Safiniya, I think is how you pronounce it. Could be wrong. Produced by Mel Gibson and Bruce Davey. Stars, mainly unknown actors. So Ruby Young.
They weren't actors.
Yes, that's true. Yes,
actors.
Had a budget of 40 million and returned 120 million, so it did very well. Currently 7.8 on IMDb or 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, with a 79% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. The basic plot, which we kind of covered already, but as the Mayan kingdom faces its decline, a young man is taken on a perilous journey to a world ruled by fear and oppression. But essentially, it follows the Mayan civilization. A peaceful tribe is brutally attacked by warriors seeking slaves and human beings for sacrifice for their gods. And then Jaguar Paw, the main actor, hides his pregnant wife and his son in a deep hole nearby, and then essentially has to fight for his and his family's survival. So that's just a quick overview on it for our listeners. But
yeah. Just some random trivia too, John. But Mel Gibson apparently was called. So almost the bad guy in it keeps calling Jaguar Paw almost. Calls him almost, like as he almost got him. And apparently Mel Gibson was called almost by an older boy as a child. And he found it deeply insulting, which is how why that ended up in the script, which I thought was really cool, just taking stuff from his...
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I'll say, how you going almost next time I see him?
Yeah, tell us. Yeah. Where is Mel based? He's based in the US, isn't he?
He's in LA, yeah.
Yeah.
In Malibu. And he'd like to come back here, but he's got 700 kids and 4 million grandchildren, and they all live there, so he can't.
Yeah,
fair enough. Yeah,
so, but he, especially when all that horse shit was going on. He would love to have come back, I think, but he's got family, and they come back to him,
I understand that, and he's definitely. I mean, you forget, like, he's one of our prime actors. He is one of our biggest. That is,
he is the biggest.
Yeah,
both Hemsworth's up there now too.
Yeah,
we got some bloody good actors going.
We do.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman. Yep.
Yeah, massive. I guess, was there anything else you wanted to say about this film, John, that resonated with you, or any final thoughts on it?
Apocalypto.
Yeah.
No, I did my best shot.
Nailed it.
Repeating myself.
Yeah, nailed it. Well, Paul, did you have anything to add before?
No. I think you covered it. We mentioned most of the actors were all pretty much unknown as well. And probably the only thing that I thought was interesting as well was that Mel Gibson, apparently when he wrote this, he pretty much came up with the concept was essentially that he wanted someone chased by a bunch of bad guys, with the film ending on the beach with Christopher Columbus and the crew walking in. So apparently that was pretty much what he had, that idea in mind, and then just worked backwards from there, I guess, and really started exploring.
Well, that's an interesting thing, and that's worth talking about. You can write the most brilliant script in the world, but if it's not a good premise, you waste time. I always look for that. I always look for something that's unique and that hopefully a premise hasn't been done before, like those Marvel bloody films all the time. First we save New York, then we save the planet, and then we get rid of whatever's coming down from the sky.
Yeah.
And the boring as batshit.
Agree. Paul Cookson, not so much. But
that's all right. They are pretty bit of a formula now, that's for sure. Yep.
You've got to have a great premise. I mean, Paul Hogan, with the premise of Dundee, You only have to have one, and he got it. Didn't have any more after that, but he landed on one hell of a good premise, and he was just so right for the role.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by a really good premise.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, that makes sense. And Mel nailed it in that. And
he did.
Yeah. And you can see that. You're right. You see any great film and you can boil it down to that if you strip it all back.
Well, you tell me another film that's like Apocalypto.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. It's very unique.
There isn't any.
No, spot on. Yeah.
So
speaking of nailing roles, sorry. Yeah,
I was just going to say we should probably.
Was there a question that someone was going to ask me? Have you asked me that question?
We asked. Yeah, that was the Tarantino one. So that was our listener question.
Oh, that was
That was it. Sorry, John.
No worries. I didn't pick that up.
No, that's right. It was so seamless. You rolled with it well. It didn't even matter.
Yeah, I'm good like that.
Yeah, killed it. But this has been a pleasure, John. It's been awesome to have you on. We should give the possession
Possessed, mate. Possessed.
Oh,
I made that mistake in the last one. Yep.
It's on the run sheet wrong.
How old are you?
I don't know, 22. What did I say before? I can't remember. The Possessed. It's distributed by Umbrella Entertainment. So with a special shout out to Dead by Dawn, and is available now to purchase on VOD on all digital platforms, Blu-ray and DVD also.
It's got to be in the collection.
Yep. Get it in there. It's great. We watched it this week. Yep. Very fun. And
definitely recommend it. Yeah. Go and see it, everyone. Yeah, definitely worth a watch. Awesome.
John Jarratt.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Great. No, it's been fun. Thanks very much.
Beautiful.
Thanks for the support.
No worries, John. Take care.
You're
All right. See you, mate.
Bye, mate.
Bye.